We welcome you to Statesboro, Georgia, and Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Just west of Savannah, it's the home of the Eagles. Georgia Southern trying to stand in the way of the Troy Trojans, who are seeking a Sun Belt championship this Saturday afternoon. In the Sun Belt, they don't break ties at the top of the league. So with the victory today, Troy will win a share of the Sun Belt championship. App State is already complete. Arkansas State playing today to try to be a member of that mix as well. But Georgia Southern is a sizable impediment for Troy. Those last 3 wins have come by large margins in this series for Georgia Southern. A place where before the game they fly Freedom, the bald eagle, in. He takes a lap around the stadium here at Paulson Stadium. They've had Freedom since 2004 when they got him from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. So 12 years here at Georgia Southern for Freedom, who signals the beginning of play. And for the Troy Trojans, the hope is this high-powered offense will have enough against Georgia Southern, which has really caused trouble for Troy the last 3 seasons they've played. Troy will have it first and come from the 25-yard line. Brandon Silvers, junior quarterback, a very accurate passer. In fact, so accurate he broke Sam Bradford's freshman completion percentage record that he set back in 2007.
And Brandon Silvers is going to have to make great decisions today, Jason, in order for Troy to win this football game. With that 3rd year of having started under your belt is a special time for a quarterback, and he's going to have to apply that here today against this Georgia Southern defense.
His head coach Neil Brown told us, look, he's fundamentally more sound. He is more mature as a quarterback as he steps into that 3rd season. He's also got a very strong tailback next to him, Jordan Chunn, with 32 career touchdowns. Silvers to throw on first down. It's Tavares McCormick. And he's got a gain of 3 on the first play from scrimmage. Troy offensively is certainly a dangerous team. 35 points a game, top 35 in the FBS.
And they love tempo, kind of the cornerstone of what their head coach Neil Brown brought here schematically is to play fast, a lot of motion, but it's about getting the ball in space to your playmakers.
This NASCAR offense for Silvers, who goes across the middle, up ahead across the 40-yard line. DeAndre Douglas to the 45 and then some. It's a gain of 17, first down. And our impact players, Kel.
Jordan Chunn is the inside workhorse type of guy. He's a grown man in the middle and running that football. And defensive tackle Darius Sapp has to own the line of scrimmage defensively. And then Ironhead Gallen is the tone center defensively for Georgia Southern.
He's one of 3 guys with most of their tackles. The top 3 cause a lot of that trouble defensively as Jordan Chunn puts the head down and gets into plus territory. Gain of 9 for Chunn.
And those are the kind of yards that Chunn brings to the table. He's the physical guy in the box, and then the perimeter game mostly is the screen game outside.
There is that screen game. DeAndre Douglas has the first down, the sophomore with his 2nd grab, who has exceeded expectations as a flag comes in on the play. These are 2 highly penalized teams, both 104th and below in the FBS in penalty yards per game.
And I think this actually came after the play, a little extracurricular, I think after Troy converted on
after
that line
the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 67 on the offense. Be a 15-yard penalty. It will be a 1st and 10, Troy.
You're right, Kel. It'll be spotted after the play. It's on Stephen Rousey, the junior left guard out of Chicago Heights, Illinois. And so first down for Troy, but 15 yards back.
So Georgia Southern defensively, I think the name of the game for them today, Jason, is they're going to have to get lined up right to begin with. And then it's a matter of matching up personnel-wise because everything is going to be coming at them Mach 7 type of speed today.
First down for Silvers. He hits Chun out of the backfield. Jordan Chun just short of the 45. 3. Keme Eligwe with the tackle, the redshirt junior. He's the tackle for loss leader, the transfer from Florida State for Georgia Southern, and Troy will run it on second down for gain 2. So we've seen Chun quite a bit on this opening drive for Troy.
And that's where Darius Sapp, one of our impact players, needs to show up. He's a huge defensive tackle at 6'1", 330 pounds, and he needs to own the line of scrimmage, number 90. Typically, he's going to be in that 3 technique type of position, shading the guard to some extent, but he needs to own between the tackles here today for Georgia Southern to have a chance.
Brandon Silvers 4 for 4 on this opening drive. He sends out Anderson, the tailback, and Silvers has it dropped. Incomplete for McCormick, and punt time for Troy, we think.
And that's a great look at how Georgia Southern has to play today defensively. It's contend with first and second down, funnel Troy to third in a passing down, and then just find a way to make one play to get off the field like they did here in this first drive.
Ryan Kay set to punt it away.
Third down defense, 14th best in the country this year for Georgia Southern, forcing Ryan Kay to take that ball off the bounce and still get it away to Monte Crockett with fair catches at the 15-yard line. 2 quarterbacks we'll see from Georgia Southern, the best running tandem in the FBS, in Ellison and Upshaw.
And that's exactly what Georgia Southern is known for, the triple option, but now it's the gun triple option, and both of these guys will play usually about equal amount of snaps. They bring essentially the same thing to the table. Ellison might be a little better passer. Upshaw has a little more suddenness to him. He's a very fast straight line guy, but it's when you play Georgia Southern, the first question the defensive coordinator has to answer is, how do we defend the quarterback run? And that's going to be front and center for the defensive coordinator, Vic Koenig, today for Troy.
They'll mark off a penalty against Troy on the punt, and it's Fabian Upshaw to start at quarterback. The belief was it was going to be Ellison first, but we will see both very likely today for Georgia Southern, which has led the FBS in rushing the last 2 years. We'll see Ellison split out maybe at points as Upshaw throws it that way. It is Ellison lined up as a wide receiver, and he's got the catch to right around the 30-yard line to gain a 9.
I'm glad our big number had both guys out there. We didn't know they would both be on the field to start the game, but that's the kind of athleticism that these guys bring. Ellison is the recipient of the pass from his co-starter at quarterback in Upshaw.
Upshaw will throw again to the outside. This is a first down grab to move the sticks for Georgia Southern on a gain of 7 as Upshaw connects with Keegan Williams.
And Upshaw is an adequate passer, but he's probably the better athlete in terms of speed and athleticism at that quarterback position. The quarterback run is front and center when number 13 is on the field.
One of 19 transfers on this roster. He's an FIU transfer as Matt Breida navigates his way across the 40 for a gain of 5.
So that's really what you have, Jason. You have the gun triple option. A lot of the triple option concepts with a run-first offense, and then you have Matt Breida is more of the physical runner inside the tackle box, and the quarterbacks tend to get to the edges, and then the quick pass game, especially when they go 4 wide receivers.
Breida a little quieter this year than he was last year. He was 10th in the country in rush yards per game last season. The tailback Breida as Upshaw lost the ball, and Troy picks it up. Turnover, Georgia Southern. The 9th fumble loss for the Eagles this year, recovered by Seth Callaway, the junior.
Georgia Southern's run game is lethal when they secure the football. It's highly ordinary when they put the ball on the ground like Fabian Upshaw does here. It was just a strip, not a heavy hit in particular, but Upshaw coughs it up, and the first big play of the game goes to Troy defensively.
Callaway knocked it free. Dillard picked it up for Troy, Rashad Dillard, and so great field position for the Trojans. Silvers from inside the 30-yard line. A lot of time and incomplete. Looking for McCormick again, who did have a little separation at second down.
McCormick was matched up in that slot on actually the linebacker, Ironhead Gallen, and Gallen played it pretty well. It was an option route, create a lot of space for a quick receiver in McCormick, but the linebacker Gallen had great pass coverage on that play.
Silvers lost the ball and has to cover it up. Football everywhere these last couple of plays. It's a loss of 2, third down and long.
It appeared to me that Silvers intended to give that ball to Jordan Chun that time. There's a lot of quarterback read mechanics in terms of ball handling, and that time Chun didn't know he was getting it, and Silvers, the quarterback, thought he was giving it up.
Third and long for Silvers. Quick pass game. Chun out of the backfield. Jordan Chun tumbling to the 20-yard line. It's fourth down as Aligwe tackled him. What do you do, Kel?
I think you go for it. I think that was the reason for that play call right there. Kind of the swing screen to the running back, Chung, knowing that if you didn't pick it up, you're in that 4-down territory anyway. You don't gain much by punting it, and it would have been a missile shot as far as a field goal attempt.
Right here it would be 37 as they gain 9 on that. So you could argue a possible field goal.
And they're a team that has gone for it on 23 times, converting 70%. So I would expect them to go ahead and try to go for it here.
Timeout. Troy will step aside. Fourth down after this. Back here to Statesboro, Georgia. No score as Troy's going for a Sun Belt championship. Again, they don't break ties in the Sun Belt, so Troy with a win here will have a share of the Sun Belt championship with at least Appalachian State and a decision to make on this drive.
Yeah, early on it's a decision because remember when you play Georgia Southern's triple option from a gun set, you get limited touches, so this is going to be interesting to see what Troy decides early in this one.
Fourth down opportunity to kick the field goal, and we will see what Troy decides to do. It does look like the field goal is coming from Kay, whose long this year is just short of 50 yards. It will be Ryan Kay, the Georgia native, from 37. And this kick is good. So Troy is on the board. 3 points for the Trojans, who again have run into Georgia Southern and met untimely doom the last couple of seasons.
And the interesting thing about this, they go ahead and get 3 points, does Troy, but you come into a game with a triple option team thinking that they're going to possess the ball by nature, and so your touches offensively are going to be limited. So do you get the points, or do you try to get a touchdown right there? And obviously Troy chose to just get something on the board in that particular drive after that big turnover.
Hey, Kel, I think we have some big games to tell you about today, huh? What do you think?
Sounds good. Let's hear about it.
Tonight, ABC. It's the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game from Orlando. Deshaun Watson, number 3 Clemson against number 23 Virginia Tech. College football playoff spot on the line for the Tigers. Coverage starts 8 Eastern on ABC, also streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. Who you got?
Don't sleep on Virginia Tech. I think Clemson will win it, but Virginia Tech has an opportunity in that game. Bud Foster's defense always has a chance.
Short kick, 25-yard line. Your keys to this game, Clemson, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, when you play Clemson, you have to stop the run. Virginia Tech has to be able to stop the run and force Deshaun Watson to play, particularly throw the football under duress. And then the power run game against what Brent Venables likes to do schematically, it's slice and dice and a lot of pressure. You have to run right at the mouth of that and then create mismatches with Bucky Hodges. He's a 6'7" tight end / wide receiver. Get him out in the slot on a nickel or a linebacker and try to make hay, especially on those money downs, third down and red zone. And Virginia Tech, I think, will have an opportunity.
Well, Pitt certainly put together the blueprint, and so did this Troy team actually for a while. in South Carolina in that game earlier this year. It was only a 6-point decision for Clemson against Troy, which drew a lot of attention nationally as Kevin Ellison gets that carry. The quarterback, we saw Upshaw as the quarterback on the opening drive.
And Kevin Ellison, from a leadership standpoint, is a bigger personality. He's a more outspoken leader, and he's really a more physical runner in that option game, whereas Upshaw is more of a slicer and a speed guy.
Quick throw, Breida out of the backfield. Matt Breida finds his way out of bounds for a first down or thereabouts. Check in with Clark.
Kelly, you mentioned the running ability of Kevin Ellison. The numbers are staggering. He's the only quarterback in the entire FBS with 3,000 rushing yards, 3,000 passing yards. From a dual threat standpoint, I mean, this guy's as good as it gets, and I think he puts a ton of pressure on Troy and what they'll have to do when Ellison is at quarterback as opposed to Upshaw. Definitely a different type of scheme.
It's going to be third down. Clark, thank you. Third down, so he's a couple yards short for the initial spot. And Ellison will pitch it for the first down. Monte Crockett, the redshirt senior out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, has the first down. And on Ellison, he was the guy that 3 years ago scored a couple of touchdowns in that big win against Florida in the swamp for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, he's played in some really big games, and that's where you see the true triple option on that last play. The way Georgia Southern gets to it is they motion a wide receiver, in this case Crockett, as that third running back. Dive inside, or the quarterback continues to the edge and keeps it or pitches it.
It's Breida this time, winding his way to the 40-yard line. Matt Breida, senior out of the state of Florida, gains 3.
And through Breida's experience, he's had a lot of touches, 153 rushes coming into this game, but it's his experience that allows him to be decisive. And he's also a great cutback guy. He has great eyes, so if you overplay to the point of attack, you leave the back door open, and Breida will find that as well.
Ty Phillips has checked in as an extra lineman for Georgia Southern. That's something the Eagles will do quite a bit. As we see the run game, and Breida one more time. Boy, does he hit that hole.
He does. That's the decisiveness that I just mentioned, Jason. You're absolutely right, and that you need the inside runner in the option to be decisive. You know, if you were playing Georgia Tech or Army, Navy, Air Force, it would be the true fullback that has to set the tone in the middle. Well, in this offensive scheme, that's Breida. It just comes from a deeper position with your quarterback in the gun, but that guy, Breida, has to be decisive.
He is out on this play. L.A. Ramsby is in, the junior tailback. On third down and short, it is Ramsby on the run, and he looks like he's got the first down based on the spot coming in. L.A. Ramsby, redshirt junior out of Cincinnati. He is Alfred C. Ramsby. The L.A. stands for Little Al, one of the honorary unsers.
Well, Little Al was recruited as a quarterback. He was actually the backup to Ellison at one time. So you have a lot of those type of guys running this gun triple option for the new head coach, Tyson Summers.
We had New Mexico a couple weeks ago, and Bob Davie has done similar things in terms of recruiting with his team as Ellison goes deep down the middle of the field, incomplete. Obi Fortune, the intended target, and there's one of those shots that we'll see from the Eagles.
Triple option team, play action passing game can be lethal, but Fortune just stops running here. I don't know that he thought that Ellison could get him the ball this deep. Ellison waits a little bit, but just before that picture you saw, Fortune stopped a little bit on that post route. Middle open, it was a great read by Ellison, but Obi Fortune stopped running just a little bit, didn't allow him to catch up with that football.
Very young player, redshirt freshman out of Alpharetta. As Ramsby stays in and gets cut down into plus territory, gain of 3. Chris Weatherspoon, one of those key safeties for Troy with the tackle.
Yeah, Weatherspoon and also Rookard, the other safety, they're the alley runners. And so if you picture the fullback in the middle, the quarterback to the edge, and then the pitch man, well, those two safeties, and Rookard and Weatherspoon, have to run the alleys to the edges to stop that edge quarterback in particular.
Breida's back in on 3rd down and long for Georgia Southern. 44% third down team this year, 36th in the country. Ellison lobs it out to the sideline and nothing doing there. William Lloyd with a big hit on Breida to set up 4th down.
Really good 3rd down defense by Vic Koenig, the defensive play caller for Troy. Get this triple option team into a passing situation and then just force a throw in front of the sticks and blow it up and make them punt. That's exactly who Troy has been this year on 3rd down in particular. Very good 3rd down, 20th in the country at 34%.
Matt Flynn to punt. Cedarius Rookard fading back on it, and he watches it bounce into the end zone. So a touchback on the Flynn punt that goes for 49 yards. And Troy with a 3-0 lead on the Ryan Cave field goal. Close but no cigar in the end zone to try and pin him deep. Neal Brown is one of the youngest head coaches in college football, and here's how he got to Troy. Well, he started here, 2006 to 09, the offensive coordinator, then to Texas Tech, where he learned something about the spread, certainly. Off to Kentucky for 2 seasons, and now in his 2nd season after Larry Blakeney, the longtime head coach at Troy. Neal Brown has done a magnificent job for the Trojans as we check in with Cart.
Indeed, Jason. And Troy is in midst of a top 5 turnaround in all of college football. Last year, only 4 wins. With a win today, they'll hit the 10-win mark for the first time since joining the FBS in 2001. How did they do it? It's pretty simple. Second-year head coach Neal Brown told me this offseason he never let his team get comfortable. Workouts were unpredictable, with players not knowing what to expect. And at the end of each workout, there was a mental test or a physical challenge players had to get through. Leaders emerged, and this young coach is building quite the reputation.
He's got a young running back, B.J. Smith, who cracks open a 1st down run across the 35. He gets 17 on that carry. And Clark, when Neal Brown was talking about that, he kept using the word intentional for what they did during the offseason.
Absolutely. I mean, these players were in the weight room having no clue what to expect. And every workout, when I said it was different, meaning like sometimes they were heavy lift days, sometimes they were quick spurt days. And players with the unexpectedness of their workouts, it kind of put them in situations on the field that when things don't go well, not everything's a routine, not everything's a script. They have to be able to adjust on the fly, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, something will go wrong as McCormick there ends up with a 1st down, a gain of 11, the big play junior. And they are quick to the line with Smith still the tailback, the freshman who has 26 carries this year. Blitz coming from the corner. They pick it up. Silvers throws away from it, and it's incomplete. Chris Cotter.
I don't know, Jason. I'm still trying to process what Clark just said, that there are days other than heavy lift days. Anyways, Jahad Thomas here from 15 yards out for Temple over on ABC, the American Championship. Big one for both these teams, especially Navy, and Temple has the lead.
Well, the committee has a choice, certainly, if Navy ends up winning that game between Navy and Western Michigan for that group of 5 slot to the conference championship after Western Michigan's win in Detroit last night against Ohio. Very close game. Were you impressed with the Broncos?
I'm impressed with anyone that goes undefeated, but when you start comparing Western Michigan and Navy, I mean, you have to start with that strength of schedule to begin with Western Michigan. But at the end of the day, they run the table. Navy is a really nice team. They have a good record, 3-1 against top 50, but you can't argue with you beat everyone on the list.
That's all you can do. And that's what PJ Fleck's argument was last night. I mean, no matter who you are, you beat all your opponents, you deserve to be rewarded for it. And we'll see how handsomely rewarded Western Michigan is as Troy will keep it on the ground with Smith, and he is about a yard short of that 1st down marker, leading to another choice for Neal Brown.
And here we go again, and this might be more about how Troy's defense is handling Georgia Southern's triple offense. I think the defense for Troy is playing well early in this game. I think it gives a head coach the freedom to go ahead and keep his offense out there and try to pick this one up.
You said it, they've gone for it on 4th down 23 times this season. Silvers is hit behind the line and stopped. William Bussey Jr., the senior, with his 5th tackle for loss this year and a big one.
And if I have 4th and a little less than 1 against Georgia Southern early in this game, I'm not running at their defensive tackles. In the end, it was Bussey, but their defensive tackles are the strength of their team defensively.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Hyundai and Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
So when you're restarting a football program like Georgia Southern did back in 1981, they had to have a way to travel to practice. So they bought from Bullock County a couple of school buses for the low, low price of $1 a piece. They still use those buses. It's part of the branding on their equipment truck as well. They also, you saw, pour some water from Eagle Creek, as they call it, onto the 50-yard line pregame. Beautiful Eagle Creek, as one of the former coaches referred to it, as Matt Breida finds his way down the sideline for a big hit and a 1st down run for Georgia Southern's tailback. He gets 12.
Kevin Ellison at quarterback, that particular play, it's the speed option to the edge. And Rupert finally gets him out of bounds, but it was William Lloyd, who was that edge setter, the outside linebacker on the weak side, that just got out leveraged. And that's what the option is all about. If you don't defend the inside run, we start there and we gash you up the middle. If you defend that, we go and test your edge. And that was edge testing right there.
One of the officials is down on the sideline being looked at. Looks like our field judge, Mike Boschers. Let's check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, let's check in on Conference USA. Their championship game, Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech. Hilltoppers Mike White picked off here in the flat by L'Jarius Sneed, who takes it 48 yards for the score. This game over on ESPN and tied 10 apiece, Chase.
Thank you, Chris. That's a good one, too. Some great games going on around college football. The American Conference Championship, Temple and Navy. Troy here trying to win a Sun Belt championship and get victory number 10 of the season. Miles Campbell on this jet sweep, and Troy is wise to that game. Terrace Lewis, back from a knee injury, makes that stop.
Jay, you kind of get a sense of what Georgia Southern intends to do offensively. I mean, it's the gun triple option that we've talked about, 2 quarterbacks that play equally in terms of playing time, but there are different ways to get the ball outside, and that was one of them right there. Miles Campbell is a jitterbug inside. He's a slot receiver, but he'll go in motion and become that edge run guy as well.
They'll run it again straight up the middle across the 40. And we remind you that this college football season, stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Download the app or visit watchespn.com today. You were watching a couple of games last night, watching some film.
I was.
That's how you do it the night
Studying.
before.
It's all about work for me.
You didn't even have dinner last night.
No.
You were studying so much.
Someone's got to carry the show here once in a while.
3rd down for Georgia Southern inside the 40-yard line in Troy territory, trying to crack the shutout. Ellison the fake, and he's driven down at the 36. Chris Weatherspoon the tackle. Now what do you do?
This is typically 4-down territory as well, for the same reasons we talked about. That play was indicative of that Georgia Southern most likely will go for it. Again, the theory behind it is you don't gain much punting the football, and it's a rocket shot to have a field goal attempt. So why not keep your triple option quarterback out there and try to convert here on 4th and about 4?
They do have one of the best kickers in college football, Younghoe Koo, with a long of 54 this year. They'll decline that and go with Ellison to throw into the middle of the field for a 1st down to B.J. Johnson III. The senior wide receiver sits down for a gain of 6.
And that field goal attempt right there would have been right about the to long for Younghoe Koo. So go ahead and throw the football. Well designed. Just first down yardage by B.J. Johnson. Has a big body. A little over 6 foot tall, 215 pounds, and he just goes down, shows the numbers to the quarterback Ellison, and he throws it right to him.
Graduated already from Georgia Southern, B.J. Johnson in his final game as a collegiate player, and that is the end of quarter number 1 in Statesboro, Georgia. Freedom the Eagles started us off, signaling the beginning of the game, and Troy has the only points, soaring to a 3-0 lead.
The College Football Playoff Selection Show, Sunday at noon on ESPN.
And your local 3-0 Troy with the lead. We'll find out who's in coming up shortly. Troy trying to be in the Sun Belt Championship category. Freedom the Eagle seems to want to fly again. As this is Miles Campbell for Georgia Southern with a gain of 7. We check in with Carter.
Who said being the field judge isn't a physical position? Moments ago, we saw one of the players run into field judge Mike Boshears, and he had his right ankle taped. So if he can't make it back into this ballgame, they actually have to get the alternate who's up top running the game clock. That's Jonathan Middlebrooks. He would then come down, and then it'd be all on the game management to find someone else to replace the alternate Jonathan Middlebrooks as the clock operator.
Good info, Clark. Thank you. L.A. Ramsby just short of the line to gain, so it's going to be third down as Lucas makes the tackle, and that's quite the shift for this officiating crew, certainly.
I'm a little worried about that clock management thing that Clark pointed out. That's fairly important in the game
It
today.
is, yeah, especially with time at a premium with a running team like Georgia Southern.
And they look actually more like themselves on this drive. Their triple option has a little bit more rhythm to it.
Ramsby stays in as the tailback on third and very short. And it's Ramsby with the direct snap, little guile from Ellison, pretending to talk to his lineman. And Ramsby gets 6 and a first down.
That was well done by Ellison. You're right. He walked up to the line of scrimmage as if he was talking to his offensive lineman, and then the direct snap back to Ramsey, and it actually worked on the defense. They were not ready for that play. Well done by Georgia Southern.
Ellison, well done as well to not be moving toward the line at the snap. That would have been illegal as Breida checks back in, and Ellison rummages for a couple yards down to the 12. Kevin Ellison, the redshirt senior out of Cornelia, Georgia. He is a father, has a son, Cooper, as he's playing his final game. Kevin is at Georgia Southern.
That last play, Jason, Georgia Southern went with what essentially is 6 offensive linemen. 96, Ty Phillips, a freshman from Valdosta, Georgia, was in there. He's listed as a tight end, but trust me, he's a defensive tackle / offensive lineman, trying to muscle up a little bit on the line of scrimmage.
Ellison reverses field, pitches for Breida, and he's inside the 5-yard line. That's a first down. First and goal off the 10th play of the drive for Georgia Southern as Lloyd makes the stop.
And a quarterback counter that has Breida as the pitch guy. You can see the counter step in the backfield by the quarterback Ellison, and then he has a polar up in front of him if he wants to keep the ball up inside, or he has the pitch relationship with Breida outside, and that time he got to the edge and pitched it to Matt Breida.
Georgia Southern doing this on the drive without top receiver Monte Crockett, still out with an injury after a long pass play earlier. First and goal for Ellison, and he keeps his feet, changes direction. Ellison meets a wall of white jerseys and is escorted out of bounds at the 11-yard line by Jalen Roundtree. It's a loss of 7 for Ellison.
And if there is a downside to Kevin Ellison's play out of that triple option, it's this. Sometimes he goes off the grid a little bit in terms of the design and tries to let his athleticism make a play. Deep in the red zone, that's not called for a lot of times. The best play usually if it breaks down, go north and south. Don't take a loss. And he didn't do it on that play.
Instead, it's 2nd and goal from the 11 for Ellison, who wants to throw. Ellison to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown. B.J. Johnson brings it in. Second score of the year for Johnson.
A smash right outside, which simply means B.J. Johnson is in the slot. He's going to go to the corner, and then Miles Campbell is sitting outside of him. And then at the end of the day, B.J. Johnson with that big body actually adjusts that big body to a throw that was inside a little bit. It was covered by Tyquay Russell, but the throw and the catch won that day. Well designed, smash route, corner from the slot. You have someone sitting in the flat, and the quarterback, Ellison, makes a nice throw to Johnson.
That caps a 12-play, 56-yard drive. Koo tacks on the extra point. And Georgia Southern goes in off the failed 4th down by Troy. Defense gets a stop. Johnson gets in the end zone, and the Eagles take their first lead in the finale.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Engines and Generators from Kohler, in power since 1920. And Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Freedom, the bald eagle, lives on campus here at Georgia Southern and flies before every home game. Did you know that the bald eagle, it doesn't mean that the bird is actually bald. The word bald is French, meaning white. It refers to the white feathers.
I did know that, actually.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what the wingspan of an eagle, a bald eagle is?
I'm going to say about 7.5 feet.
Okay, it's 6 to 8. And now I'm concerned that
I'm pretty much right in the middle of that 6 to 8 thing you just said.
That's an alarming depth of knowledge about the bald eagle. Troy will have it with B.J. Smith on the return from the end zone, and he is shuttered at the 16-yard line. We'll check in with Chris Cotter. Chris?
All right, gentlemen, a couple for you here. Let's start with Temple's off to a great start at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Here, Philip Walker finding Ventel Bryant 22 yards for the score. It's 14-0 Owls over on ABC. Meanwhile, on ESPN Conference USA, Carlos Henderson takes a swing pass in, all tied at 17 apiece.
Is Temple doing the committee's work for him?
I think so.
I think that's what's happening.
Trying to make the decision easier.
Remember that flex bone triple option that they're running at Navy doesn't exactly work coming back from being down, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on.
Troy has had a very nice season, trying to close it out with win number 10 as B.J. Smith makes it to the sideline. Troy nearly beat Clemson earlier this year, and you look at the group of 5 contenders, those teams that are in that mix, Western Michigan and Navy, are really the contenders for the throne of that group of 5 guaranteed slot for a conference champion. But the season that Troy has really stacks up.
Yeah, Troy was right in the mix and
ranked at one point.
Yeah, ranked at one point. But at the end of the day, Jay, and I think you agree with this, it's hard to argue with the team that ran the table, which is Western Michigan, standing in that spot right now.
Jordan Chun stays standing, and he winds his way into Georgia Southern territory as a first down as a league weight tackles him 22 yards downfield.
And Troy hasn't been all that efficient yet today. And remember, their number one goal is to go fast and gain an advantage going fast, kind of deploying their speed receivers out in space, but they don't give the defense a lot of time to look at it.
First down for Silvers and the offense. Chun one more time going horizontal and going down. Behind the line, it's Bussey again, who stopped an earlier drive with a tackle for loss.
Yeah, going horizontally is not Chung's strong suit. It's downhill. In that zone running scheme, press the line of scrimmage and plant a foot and get north and south. Going sideways is exactly where Georgia Southern wants Chung.
We're talking about Western Michigan, by the way. We showed you those group of 5 teams. What else are you supposed to do if you're the Broncos? You win all your games, you beat a couple Big Ten teams, you don't have a sniff for the college football playoff. It seems inequitable.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Flag down Silvers throws it across the middle and inside the 45-yard line.
Jonathan Battle, I think, got such a great jump that it was actually offsides. He tried to anticipate the snap count from his nose tackle position, and I believe jumped across a little early.
92 on the defense. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Hey, be sure to kick off your Week 13 NFL Sunday with us on ESPN, 9 a.m. Eastern, NFL Insider Sunday edition. All the early breaking stories, injury news, then at 10, Sunday NFL Countdown. Boomer and everybody streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Georgia Southern's strength defensively, as far as I can see it, is Darius Sapp at one tackle position, Jonathan Battle, who jumped off sides right there at the other. And I think that's why we haven't heard of Jordan Chunn much today, because of those two guys.
More movement at the line. Don't see a flag this time as Chunn goes forward for 4. It's going to be 3rd down and short as Sapp there makes the tackle.
That was Battle again. I don't know if he's listening to the snap count and trying to anticipate, or if one of those offensive linemen are actually talking to him. I haven't seen Brandon Silvers really change that snap count a whole lot, so the veteran fifth-year senior Jonathan Battle may be anticipating that count a little bit.
He was lucky it was a stunt because his first move was sideways
Exactly.
instead of toward the line.
Yeah, that's a great point, because he definitely jumped early.
Play action for Silvers. To the edge, he's got a completion, 1st down and then some. Emmanuel Thompson with his first grab, his 66th catch of the year, goes for 20.
And that's where Troy's advantage lies. It's outside in the perimeter pass game. Thompson just runs a curl route in front of the coverage, and it's a timely throw, and that's where Brandon Silvers is at his best, quite frankly, as well. Make a quick decision and just throw a BB outside, in this case to Emmanuel Thompson.
Brandon Silvers, whose uncle, Kerry Christensen, was a quarterback for Troy back in 1984, a national title year for the Trojans, down a level. Quite the pedigree for this program for Silvers and his family. Chunn stays upright for the moment and gets chopped down after a gain of 1, as the Trojans are in search of their first 10-win season as an FBS team. This after 4 wins last year. A wonderful turnaround this season for the Trojans.
And we've talked a lot about Neil Brown as the new head coach as of last season and bringing in this high-powered offense, but I think it's the defensive turnaround that has made this arrival maybe a little bit quicker than people anticipated. Vic Koenig, the defensive coordinator, has done a tremendous job here at Troy.
Even though he might not agree, he feels like there are points where his defense has been under attack this year. As Silvers, who they say needs to use his feet more, does so here down to the 10-yard line. He didn't look terribly comfortable there,
no,
but he made something out of it.
Well, that's exactly what they were talking about. It's outside the design of the play. They don't want him to run more quarterback read type of stuff, but they want him to get on the move when the play breaks down in the pocket. You saw him hesitate there, Jason, to the right, and he needed to get outside just a little bit sooner. In the end, it's Dawson that chases him a little bit, but it was Brandon Silvers that makes something out of nothing. He's a very good athlete, 6'3", and they said he can dunk a basketball basically every way imaginable. They want to get him on the move a little bit more.
He's got a 3rd down here from around the 10-yard line. Silvers on the run, and he is inside the 5. 1st and goal. That was designed for him to get out of the pocket as Jones made the stop.
Stephen Rousey, the left guard, was pulling from the left side to the right, so it was somewhat a speed option, but the quarterback, if he chose to keep it, had a personal escort in his left guard pulling to the right.
So 1st and goal inside the 5. Chunn is in. Touchdown. The 33rd of his career for Jordan Chunn.
That was a typical Troy scoring drive offensively. A mix of run and pass, powerful running by Jordan Chunn, a physical offensive line, and it was supplemented by Brandon Silvers making good decisions in the pass game and getting the ball out decisively.
The one thing that was atypical on that drive was the time elapsed. The average touchdown drive this year for Troy entering today was 1:57. This one was Homeric. Comparatively, 5:09 of the scoring drive. The Trojans are in and back in the lead. Us beat cancer. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. It is Jimmy V Week here with ESPN, and downstairs Paul Carcaterra. I know that disease has touched your family very closely.
Yes, it has, Jason. Too many people are negatively affected by cancer. My family, no exception. We lost my beautiful mother, Diane, in April of 2014. And you know, coaches are linked to chalkboards and whistles, and my mother had neither. However, she was my greatest life coach. After my games, plays were never dissected. She didn't know much about sports, but the confidence she gave me in life allowed me to play and live my best without any pressure. Always telling me her famous quote, "What's the fuss? Everything will be fine." Cancer didn't win that battle with my mother, Diane. She's still with me in every single winning moment of life.
Kark, we're very sorry for your loss. I know how much she mattered to you, and I know how much fun that trip to Niagara Falls was. It's Kark at the Maid of the Mist with his mom, Diane. Thank you.
That was special. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I know Ma Kelly's watching this game.
Wow.
Certainly. Georgia Southern will have it. Miles Campbell on the return, and he is across the 20-yard line. Kark?
And you know, after a while, it's almost 2 years, the tears become smiles and laughs. And you mentioned Ma Kelly. I shared that with you. One of our favorite movies as a kid was Johnny Dangerously. And my mother, like I said, she was the best mom possibly any boy could have, but not a good housewife. The laundry would pile up to the ceiling. She'd be in her bathrobe at 3 p.m. when we got off the bus, but the love was unconditional every day.
Amen to that.
You let her do laundry once, Kark, right? Once.
Yeah, we've sat around and talked about your mom before, Kark, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah, thank you. Ellison is back in at quarterback. Breida out of the backfield, and he is overwhelmed after a gain of 1.5. Chris.
Learn something new every day. I never knew Kark's mom was a fan of Roman Maroney and Johnny Dangerously. How about that? All right, how about the game on ABC? It's been an awful start for Navy. Here, Walker finds Keith Kirkwood for Temple. It's 21-0. Owls on top. Early second quarter, guys.
Ooh. Wow.
How about that, Cal? You didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that option is not built to come back from that, but it'll be interesting.
They score points, but they don't like to score points.
They score
from
points
behind.
in like 8 to 10 minutes at a time.
Option team here, Georgia Southern. The Eagles run with Breida. It's 2. It's going to be 3rd down and long for this Georgia Southern team, trying to stop Troy from winning a portion of the Sun Belt title. With a win, Troy would guarantee itself a share.
Yeah, and early in this game, Troy was getting off the field defensively because of the down and distance like this. Win 1st and 2nd down against that triple option and force them to throw like right now it's a 3rd and 7. But then you have to defend the pass. Ellison has been fairly effective in this situation here in the second quarter.
Troy, one of the top 20 third down defenses in the country, draws a flag here. Ellison unloads to the sideline and incomplete on a jump ball. We'll check the marker.
It'll be holding and declined by Troy because of the incompletion on 3rd and 7.
Holding, offense, number 71. 10-yard foul from the previous spot.
They're going to decline that.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Max Magana, the right tackle. And a lot of times,
the holding on number 71 is declined. It will be 4th down.
And the holding a lot of times in that situation occurs when the quarterback is getting on the move. Because remember, the right tackle, Magana, is expecting his quarterback to be in a certain place in a pocket pass. And then when Ellison gets on the move, the guy you're blocking takes off at a different angle. Your tendency is to grab a hold of him, and he gets called for holding in this particular case.
That's the first 3 and out of our day today here in Statesboro, Georgia. And Flynn punting to Cedarius Rooker. He has no chance to return from the 35-yard line. It's a 40-yard punt, no return. Troy will have it back after this. Outstanding season for Troy, 9-2, and nearly knocked off Clemson. They did maybe the best defensive job on Deshaun Watson of anybody this year. Then it really became the Fun Belt. 7-game win streak, 5-0 in the Sun Belt for Troy until Senior Day went awry. 35-3, a loss to Arkansas State with a chance to win outright the entire Sun Belt. Last week, though, they put up 40 points against Texas State, and an opportunity here for a share of the Sun Belt title for Neil Brown in his second season. One of those guys that may very quickly become a hot name in coaching circles because of his offensive innovation.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The offensive style is certainly in vogue, and he has it all together. He's a pretty buttoned-up dude as far as putting together a program as well.
Jordan Chunn on the run to the 39-yard line. And, you know, it's really interesting talking to Neil Brown about what he does to gather information offensively. He says he loves watching the Patriots. He loves watching the New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton and what they do offensively. He thinks Jeff Brom has done a magnificent job in college, but he has time. He makes time to innovate in his schedule while being the quote-unquote CEO of this program.
Yeah, and one of the things he loves the most is the innovation. And he watches during the week. He's had some third down stuff in today that he got from watching Clemson tape when they prepared for them earlier in the year.
Always keeping the eyes open as this quick hitter goes for an even quick hit from the defense. And Bussey, we check in with Chris.
All right, gentlemen, Dave and Buster's halftime report coming your way in just a few minutes. Jonathan Vilma's here in studio with me. We'll check in on Bedlam. That's the de facto Big 12 championship game going on right now between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Also, Western Michigan, what are their chances now to get to the Cotton Bowl after their big win last night? And the Big 10 championship game tonight doesn't even matter as far as the playoff is concerned. We'll talk about that.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Who agrees with that? Where did Chris get that information?
I think Penn State could easily be in with a win. Don't you?
Yeah, we have to assume that Ohio State and Michigan are better than everyone else, and I simply don't take that to heart.
McCormick tackle. This is going to be 4th down for Troy. I mean, there's nothing that says Ohio State in the 2 position from last week needs to be in the college football playoff as we look at the rankings presented by PlayStation.
Yeah, and the term is if a team is unequivocally better than the rest, but I don't see that. I mean, if that's our starting premise, that Ohio State and Michigan are basically better than everyone else that we're considering, then we really don't have an argument. But if you don't accept that initial theory, then we have a lot to debate, and I'm a guy that wants to debate that.
Punt by Kay goes bouncing toward the 20-yard line. I want to get more thoughts on that when we come back.
I'd be happy to visit with you about such things.
You're bursting at the seams with theses about the college football playoff. 51-yard punt. We come back to Statesboro after this. All right, back to the college football playoff rankings brought to you by PlayStation. And we're talking about that Big Ten championship game coming up. Penn State, Wisconsin getting together.
Not mattering? Are you kidding me?
So what do you think could happen? Big Ten title goes to, say, Penn State. You think they should be in over Ohio State,
I
right?
think so.
They beat them, and they're a conference champion, something the committee takes into account.
It's about championships won, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, and comparative outcomes outside of the all-encompassing if a team is not unequivocally better than. And I don't see Ohio State unequivocally better than a team that beat them.
Fabian Upshaw is the quarterback this time around for Georgia Southern, and with about 2 minutes to go in the half, he goes running for a gain of 4. You think Washington's in, certainly?
I think Washington's in, or the committee is so double-minded, what difference does it make if they're 4 going into the week and they win their conference championship over the number 8 team and they would happen to drop out? That would make no sense to anybody that's paying attention.
Well, we'll see what happens. Penn State, Wisconsin later on in the Big Ten championship as Upshaw wings it high, and it's caught by Johnson. Nice jumping grab for B.J. Johnson, who has the lone touchdown for the Eagles today.
Melton was the corner that was covering on that play, and he jumped the route and tried to pick it off. Upshaw was way late on the throw, and this actually could have been a pick 6 by Milton. Milton missed it, and in the end, it was completed.
Whale of a catch by B.J. Johnson, who his first 2 years in Statesboro was the team's leading receiver. Now a redshirt senior, as Upshaw Flushed out of the pocket, and he's got another completion for a first down just short of midfield, this time Obi Fortune. And this offensive line for Georgia Southern this year has been very good, only allowing 11 sacks. Fortune with the catch for the first down. Upshaw down the middle through traffic to Johnson, and he's going to be about a yard short of the marker. Under a minute to go, and we'll get a timeout, Georgia Southern. Under a minute left. See if this Fun Belt drive can lead to points. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans at games all season long. They're enjoying their day in Statesboro, shirtless or not. And a close game with the home team driving with under a minute to go first half. And Fabian Upshaw has been the quarterback of choice rather than Ellison.
Yeah, and throwing it. In this situation, it calls for throwing the football. It typically is Kevin Ellison that gets the call.
This is Upshaw under pressure, and down he goes. Rashad Dillard with his team leading 7.5 sacks as Georgia Southern uses another timeout, one remaining after a loss of 8 and 54 seconds on the clock.
And forced to use the timeout because of a bad decision by a fifth-year senior and Fabian Upshaw. You have to throw this ball out of bounds. When the clock goes off, if you can't escape, the ball has to go out or you're burning a timeout, and it's a valuable timeout. They have one left, but that ball should have gone out of bounds somewhere.
Cal Sunday, it is the College Football Playoff Selection Show. It's a 4-hour special to exclusively reveal the College Football Playoff semifinal matchups in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl on December 31st. Reese and the guys will also unveil the other New Year's 6 bowl games, have the final top 25 for you. It all starts noon Eastern on ESPN Sunday. Also available streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
I want people at home listening to do an exercise.
Yes.
Penn State beat Ohio State on October 22nd. Go and look at the schedule, how it's played out since then between Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and even Wisconsin. And tell me how Ohio State has become unequivocally better since that time than all of the other teams that we're talking about.
Go look it up, folks. Upshaw down the middle for his first incompletion of the game. He wanted Keegan Williams, and it's third down and long. Here's the comparison shopping between those 4 teams in the Big Ten.
And that's what you have to do. You have to start to compare by the own marching orders of the committee. If one of those teams isn't unequivocally better than the rest, then you start comparing things like championships won, strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, common opponents without accounting for the score. And if Ohio State was not unequivocally better than Penn State on 10/22 of this year, then they haven't really done anything since that point to earn that title.
That was fourth down for Georgia Southern, so Flynn with the punt, and a very good one, 46 yards inside the 5-yard line. Now, one game today that could allow somebody to sneak in from the Big Ten is tonight on ABC. The Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game from Orlando. Deshaun Watson and the Clemson Tigers against Virginia Tech. Spot of the College Football Playoff on the line for the Tigers. 8 Eastern on ABC. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. If Clemson loses that game, who are you putting in?
All bets are off. I think, first of all, I keep Ohio State in the top 4, maybe not number 2, but they certainly stay in there, and it may open the door. I think the Big Ten champion of the Big Ten game needs to be in the College Football Playoff as well.
With a Clemson loss, you're saying?
Exactly, with a Clemson loss.
It's a first down run for Chun and Troy, looking like willing to go into the locker room with a 10-7 game. I think people need to be aware that there's no guarantee that Ohio State's going to finish this week, too.
That last data point, championships won, means something in the end. It doesn't mean anything until it's happened. Ohio State will not have that data point that a Penn State or a Wisconsin is going to have. That needs to matter, or we're not saying we're emphasizing the regular season as much as the committee leads us to believe.
It's very plausible that Washington, with the win last night against Colorado, could leapfrog Ohio State with the conference championship and with that 41-10 win. Halftime here in Statesboro, Troy has the lead 10-7, trying to win a share of the Sun Belt title. Now we go to the studio, all the latest news, scores, and highlights, and your halftime report.
Thank you, Jason. Dave and Buster.
You're watching Jimmy B Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Statesboro, Georgia, the site. Troy with a 10-7 lead at halftime. And there's a lot at stake for the Troy Trojans over from Alabama today. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer along with you. And for Troy, a win here, you end up with a Sun Belt share in the championship position. If you win, that's what you get. If you lose, you don't share in the championship.
What surprised me in that first half, Troy offensively is a team that they go up tempo, but they take their shots. Can you remember one time Brandon Silver's throwing the ball down the field?
No, longest completion was
Not
20,
once.
and it was a short catch and run.
Expect that to change here in the second half.
All right, let's take a look at our Kohler power performance in the first half.
Yeah, it was about defenses. Defenses made a couple more plays than the offense did, and you're going to see Bussey coming off the edge in this fourth down situation, and he stops that one, and Troy's offense goes off the field once again, and the game's played by the tackle and the defensive end out wide. The stunt up and inside results in the sack on Upshaw, and that was really the name of the game in that first half. Defenses won, offenses didn't look in rhythm much, and I would expect Troy to come out firing downfield offensively in this second half.
Georgia Southern will have it first. As you see, these offenses are not normally where they are currently at halftime. Kickoff into the end zone, and Campbell takes a knee. We check in with Clark.
Make them one-dimensional. That's what Tyson Summers just told me in regards to their defense. He said they're playing the run. When Troy goes up the middle, they've been really strong defensively. Have to be able to tackle those skilled guys on the outside in the second half. That will be a big factor for them. On the other side of the ball, heavy doses of the option, and that will really lull Troy to sleep in terms of the run game. He said, Kelly, you mentioned Troy going downfield. He wants to take a couple shots as well.
And I would expect it. Georgia Southern does that out of their triple option. They will lull you to sleep, as Clark said, and then take shots. But Troy does the same thing offensively. They just get to it differently. But that vertical passing game for Troy offensively was non-existent in that first half.
Well, the injury to Monte Crockett certainly did not help the wide receiver, as this goes for a long run for the quarterback Ellison all the way across the 45-yard line. It's a first down run of 23.
We talked about it at the top, Jason. If you're going to defend Georgia Southern well, you have to defend the quarterback. And in the first half, Troy did a pretty decent job of it. In the second half, that first play, not so much. Ellison gets around the corner.
Longest play of the day for Georgia Southern comes on that run by Ellison, the only player in the FBS with over 3,000 career rushing and passing yards. As Breida keeps his feet into plus territory, give him 5.
And Georgia Southern starting the second half with essentially 6 offensive linemen. In this case, the 6th lineman is Ty Phillips, a true freshman, number 96. He has an eligible number on, but essentially he's in there as a 6th offensive lineman in the tight end position.
Another wide receiver motion just before the snap for Miles Campbell as Breida goes clanging off of bodies to the 42-yard line, very close to the marker as Lucas makes the stop. About a quarter of a yard short. It's third down. Yeah, marker's right at the 42. The ball is short of the 42, so no need to measure. This is a Georgia Southern offense that Under new management, Tyson Summers in his first season takes over a program that had led the FBS the last 2 years in rushing. L.A. Ramsby darting for a first down to the 39. Gets about 4 and moves the sticks.
They call that a split zone, and Ross Alexander, number 46, and you see Ramsby comes up limping. He's been nicked up this year. And certainly didn't handle that hit very well. But Ross Alexander is the kind of the cruiser tight end, the move tight end, and he slashes across from left to right and ends up sealing the edge that Ramsey ran to.
Ramsby, for the most part, has been the third down back today. Balance of his carries coming in situations like that as Breida comes back. And Breida hits the hole very hard across the 30-yard line. And Breida has a first down as he's knocked down by Weatherspoon, gain of 15.
Georgia Southern is starting this second half testing the leverage of Troy defensively, which simply means, are you setting a hard edge defensively? If not, we're going to get outside. We saw the quick motion by the wide receiver Miles Campbell, and then Breida ended up going outside of him on the handoff.
Breida's been a big play guy in his career as they run the reverse option here, and Ellison finds his way through. Ellison to the end zone, and he's out of bounds just short. 23-yard gain, first and goal, Georgia Southern.
And Jason, this is basically a load option. The tight end, number 46, Ross Alexander, is loading up on the edge, simply blocking out on the edge, and then Ellison has the option to keep it like he did there, or he has a guy in pitch relationship as well, but Ellison kept the ball and almost got that one into the end zone.
That's Wesley Fields as the pitch man. We have not seen him much at all, and now this play is going to be stopped to check and see if Ellison got in.
Out of bounds prior to crossing the goal line. The previous play is under further review.
And Ellison certainly reached the ball across the goal line, across that plane just inside the pylon, but the question is, was he out of bounds with either of his feet before that?
So we shall see. You got to look at the gregarious personality of Ellison, celebrating with his teammates as this is in the balance. I think it's a touchdown, Cal.
Yeah, I think even if that left foot, which I actually think was inbounds right there, that left foot, but he reaches across the pylon anyway.
With that freeze, I think that's a touchdown, and I don't think it's close.
Is that left foot out of bounds is the question. That's what they're going to be reviewing, because if that left foot comes down out of bounds, then it becomes, did the ball cross the plane before that left foot went out of bounds? And quite frankly, I think it's a touchdown on both accounts.
I think there's space between the foot and the sideline, a sliver of space between foot and sideline.
All it takes is a sliver, Jason. You know that.
We shall see.
But even before that foot came down, that ball, I think, was penetrating the front part of that goal line anyway.
So you think even if he did step out of bounds, it's a touchdown?
Yeah, I think this is going to be overturned. I think you're right. I think either way, that ball was across the plane before anything attached to Ellison, the quarterback, was out of bounds.
If it is a touchdown for Ellison, it's his 6th rushing touchdown of the year after 8 last season. Running this option attack, which has become very well known here at Georgia Southern.
And consider what we saw in this first drive out of Georgia Southern. They attacked the perimeter in the run game. And it was Ellison on 2 long runs, potentially a touchdown here, but it was Breida that got to the edge as well. And I think that's one of the adjustments made. I think in the first half, Troy was very good in the tackle box. There's that left foot on the freeze. Jay, do you still see a sliver there?
I see a sliver.
I think your sliver might have gone away on that tight freeze right there.
That freeze was right when the ball was across the plane. So, again, there's a moment prior to that where the ball may have been across and his foot hadn't planted, as you said.
Now, keep in mind, that's what the role of the replay booth is. That toe, actually, that foot comes down, and just anatomically, you go to your toe when you're running. The toe ended up out of bounds, but by that time the ball has penetrated the goal line, right?
I'm not even sold that the toe's completely out of bounds.
I lost you anatomically, didn't I?
Well, you had me at hello, and then you lost me there. We'll see if Ellison got in. It's going. I mean, no matter what, your first goal at the 1.
The runner's foot did not step out of bounds prior to the ball breaking the goal line. Touchdown.
There's a sliver, Kel. Touchdown, Kevin Ellison. A 75-yard rushing drive for Georgia Southern.
A little early to be carrying people around, but Georgia Southern looked like themselves on that drive, and the ball is about ready to penetrate the front part, and right there I think that's exactly what the officials would have been looking at in the replay booth.
Yep.
The foot was still up, the ball was across the front part. Remember, it's just the very front part of that white line on the goal line constitutes breaking the plane.
And that's great work by our replay officials to get all of the available angles, put them together, and create a circumstance where they got it right.
You know who provides that to them? We do.
14-10, Georgia Southern.
Bob Frateroli was all over that. Just tell it like it is.
Directing our way to break. 14-10.
Welcome back as we have Georgia Southern up 14-10 over Troy. And when you play Georgia Southern's triple option, it's all about assignment football. Kevin Ellison is going to get to the edge, and Troy is in great position defensively. They have 3 defenders, have everyone covered, but nobody takes the quarterback in the end. You have to communicate, you have to sort it out, and above all things, you have to stick to your assignment. Troy was in position, but didn't finish the deal, and in the end, Kevin Ellison gets in the end zone.
This is a team that only ran for 53 yards in the first half, 75 on that drive. For a top 30 rushing offense in the country, Georgia Southern. Renowned for its option, using it successfully here in the second half. B.J. Smith will take a knee, and we check in with Kark.
Guys, this is incredible. This is the Field of Dreams. Prior to this new facility, there was actually a hill for all these kids to play when Georgia Southern was having games. And when they implemented the new facility, they wanted a playing field for these kids. And every Saturday, this place is packed for the first 3 quarters of the game. How much football you guys play here?
Every weekend.
Every weekend. It's incredible. So we're going to have these guys go out for a pass. We're going to have some fun. Go! What's going on? It's like a Kelly Stauffer throw.
Yeah, who is he throwing to, for crying out loud?
Oh, he had him. He had somebody.
We got it. We're going to go.
He read the middle safety and threw the vertical 10 feet over people's head.
What a catch.
Silver's the throw on first down. There's a lot of excitement down there. Kark?
Oh, this is a ton. I'm like another kid. These guys actually want to race me, too. We're going to see how fast my 41-year-old legs are. Line up. Let's race.
This is going to be ugly.
Let's race. Get in the line.
He might blow both hammies on one trip. Oh, my goodness. He moves pretty well.
You know, there's no concern about Kark ever letting anybody win at anything.
How
one
about
more
the
pass.
Spike at the end.
Set, go.
He is a 12-year-old, folks.
Can we get him back to watch
John
the game now?
on the run. It is second down.
You know, we walked in together, all of us,
Yeah.
and I saw him light up when he saw that field, and he didn't even know what it was at that time.
That's right.
But I guarantee you he was going to end up there.
We've lost Kark for the remainder of the game. He will be all-time quarterback for those kids. For
Kark,
the next...
you got to get that elbow up a little bit higher on that throw. You look like a All-American lacrosse player.
It's a custom suit, man. They weigh them tight these days.
Blitz coming for Georgia Southern. They pick it up, and now Silvers goes down. Just the 7th sack allowed by Troy this year comes from Eligwe.
Because of Georgia Southern's young secondary, they actually haven't brought a lot of pressure this year. Tyson Summers is more of a pressure guy defensively, but this time they actually get after the quarterback. And once you can get Troy into a third and passing situations, you can do things like that.
Chun got a hand on Eligwe but couldn't stop him, and so the sack leads to a punt. And this is a nice return for Georgia Southern. Miles Campbell at the sideline at the 45. It's a net of 32. Georgia Southern's defense gets off the field with a sack from Eligwe. It's a 4-point lead for the Eagles with the ball when we come back.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Taco Bell's new Steakhouse Burrito and Steakhouse Nachos. No reservations, no garnishes, just the steakhouse good stuff. And Lexus. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is here, now through January 3rd.
1981 to 1989, Eric Russell was the head coach at Georgia Southern. 3 1AA national titles. He used to ram his head into helmeted players celebrating a turnover. So since 07, players headbutt a bronze statue of Coach Russell prior to every home game to honor his legacy. That's hard-nosed.
Yeah, maybe go right into concussion protocol after that, apparently.
Let's see if we can get Kark to ram his head into the statue later on in this game. Campbell on first down gets a yard.
Campbell on the carry.
Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Paul Carcaterra, thanks for joining us wherever you may be on this December Saturday. Beautiful day at Statesboro, Georgia for the finale between Georgia Southern and Troy. Trojans hoping for win number 10 for the first time since they joined the FBS level. They trail 14-10, under 10 to go third quarter. Kevin Ellison has been the quarterback of choice, and he's got wide open room in front of him. Inside the 30, Ellison down the sideline for the touchdown. It's a 54-yard run.
And once again, Jason, the theme is getting to the edge and making Troy prove that they're able to defend the quarterback out wide. The speed option, personal protector in Alexander, the tight end, and then Ellison is an athlete out in space. He knows what to do when he gets out there. And Troy, once again, is not buttoned down out on the perimeter.
Flag down after the play. The officials talk it over.
How about Andy Kwan just carrying everybody that scores a touchdown off the field, the starting center?
After the score, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 4 on the offense. That's his first unsportsmanlike of the game. The foul will be enforced on the kickoff.
So Ellison called for the unsportsmanlike conduct.
Was it for the right he got off the field on Andy Kwan, or actually the Heisman pose after the touchdown, I think, is what did him in. Uh-oh, that won't work. You and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but why? Why is that worth 15
Not
yards?
the no fun league, is it?
Celebrating a 54-yard touchdown.
Let the boys have fun.
It's his second touchdown of the game. He's over 100 this half, and he's happy.
The College Football Playoff Selection Show, Sunday at noon on ESPN.
Georgia Southern 21-10 over Troy. Troy may not be in the Sun Belt driver's seat anymore, trying to win a share of the conference championship, thwarted so far in the second half by Kevin Ellison, who's got all 101 yards of his on the ground after halftime. 4 carries, no yards in the first half, and Ellison in his final game at Georgia Southern.
Andy Kwan right there in the middle. The starting center is the one that carried Ellison off after he got the Heisman flag.
That's why the kickoff comes from short range. B.J. Smith on the return, an explosive return just short of the 40-yard line. And we remind you that tonight on ABC, the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game comes from Orlando. Deshaun Watson and number 3 Clemson. It's a play-in game for the college football playoff against number 23 Virginia Tech. Play-in game for Clemson, certainly. Coverage starts 8 Eastern on ABC, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Clemson still has a chance I think they're really the only team I see that has a chance eventually, maybe against Alabama, but Deshaun Watson needs to show up. He's had starts of things that look good, but he hasn't been nearly as consistent as he was a year ago.
Jordan Chunn chopped down at the 35-yard line. It's a loss of 3. And on Watson, he had his lowest quarterback rating game of this season at 35 against Troy, this team we're watching today.
Yeah. Vic Koenning has done a lot of really nice things defensively for Troy, but right now he needs his quarterback to start making some plays as well. Vertical passing game needs to show up.
Motion at the line. Silvers is incomplete, and it's going to be offside. This is against Clemson, September 10th. Jalen Roundtree, interception of Deshaun Watson, couple of picks in the game. Jabir Fry, 66-yard touchdown run. Clemson led entering the fourth quarter just by 3, 13-10. Then Watson and Deion Kane, a touchdown. Onside attempt didn't go so hot for the Trojans. They came within 6 in that game and ended up later in the season after a long win streak being ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, and you see that QBR from Deshaun Watson, and Troy's defense played really well, and they certainly had a chance to legitimately win that game in Death Valley.
Offside penalty against Georgia Southern leads to 5 yards for Troy, and that's going nowhere. Silvers taken down at the 40, no gain. Battle with the tackle, and again, a little bit of a clunky run from Silvers. He's not used to doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, he's not decisive in the run game by any stretch of the imagination. That was a designed quarterback draw out of an empty set, and he once again just does not explode when there's a little green grass. But what Troy needs to start doing offensively is you have to take your shots. And that's really what they're known for. Inside running game, play fast, and then take your shots. And sometimes you just have to force the shot. And they haven't done that today.
McCormick, number 11, has been the big play guy. And there he's jarred as he throws by the pressure of Joshua Moon for Georgia Southern. Trey Griffin was in there as well. It's 4th down.
Ironhead Gallen was in causing trouble inside also, and he's actually the one that gets the hit on the quarterback is Ironhead Gallen. But that's one reason that Troy hasn't been able to go vertically. Going vertically sometimes takes a little more time, and Georgia Southern has gotten pressure on Brandon Silvers a time or two.
That's rare. Troy had allowed the fewest sacks in the country, coming in at 6. Campbell to receive inside the 20, and he is dropped. Told you about Neil Brown and Tyson Summers, the 2 head coaches in this game, both 36 years old. The youngest is Mike Norvell of Memphis, taking over for Justin Fuente. Then your boat rower from Kalamazoo, PJ Fleck. Summers at 36 years, 7 months, 22 days, and Neil Brown just 1 month older than Tyson Summers. 2 36-year-olds who you would have to believe have growing futures as head coaches in college football, both with histories in this program as well that they're coaching currently.
Yeah, Tyson Summers grew up more on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive coordinators where he made his name, and that's what he's trying to get going here, keeping the triple option offense intact. And Neil Brown, on the other hand, brings a high-powered, up-tempo offense to Troy.
Greta gets by one would-be tackler and moves across the 25-yard line. On Tyson Summers, here's a guy who used to come to high school football camps in Statesboro. He knows about the program. He's been here previously. Some of his staff at Presbyterian College when he was a player himself came from Georgia Southern. So he's got great familiarity with the school and also the area thanks to his ties to Georgia. Learning under Mike Bobo, among others. Upshaw reverses field and crawls ahead past the 30-yard line. It's a first down run for Upshaw. Coaching staff 2005 with the Georgia Bulldogs. Tyson Summers was a GA. Mike Bobo, now the head coach at Colorado State. Quarterbacks coach. Kirby Smart, the running backs coach. Kirby now leading that program.
Pretty good group.
Yeah.
The Georgia boys, that's South Georgia right there, those three guys, and throw Will Muschamp into the mix also that are known by those three. But he comes from North Georgia, so he's not a full member of the Georgia Boys Club.
And never will be, right?
Nope, he absolutely will not be.
Upshaw, the quarterback, runs into a wall for Troy, no gain. And we were talking to Tyson Summers about Mike Bobo, and he said, look, he's the most competitive person I have ever met. There were points where they were living together very briefly, and Bobo would just wake up earlier than he knew Summers would just so he could lord it over him for the week. I woke up at 4:42. You were up at 4:45.
Downtown Fort Collins. That's where that took place. As Bobo took that job and Tyson Summers was his coordinator. And yeah, before their families moved out there, about 5 of the Georgia boys lived together.
This is a reverse and a pass. Downfield to the 45. Mike Jackson with the grab inside the 30. Johnson to Jackson. And a flag down way back at the 35 of Georgia Southern. It's a 46-yard gain if it stands.
Curtis Rainey, the offensive right guard, is the one that's not happy about the call. That may give us insight to the penalty.
An eligible man downfield, number 58 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
It's on the left tackle, Jeremiah Culbreth, the sophomore.
So you have a 3-yard area past the line of scrimmage, and if the ball's going to be thrown forward, then offensive linemen or ineligible linemen cannot advance past that 3-yard
Yeah, he's well
area.
upfield. He's well upfield.
I think he might have forgotten that was going to be thrown, or he thought it was going to be thrown much earlier than it was. Difficult to see because obviously offensive linemen are not turning and looking at the passer. In this case, the wide receiver, B.J. Johnson.
Great job by Johnson to sell that it was going to be a run. He tucked the ball for the moment, picked it back out to throw it, and it's going to be second down and 15. All that for a loss on the play. Wesley fields this draw, and Troy stands tall for a loss of 4. And they want a flag here in Statesboro. Instead, we'll check in with Chris.
All right, gentlemen, halftime at Bedlam. Let me show you where we are right now. Geno Lewis, after Oklahoma State scored, Sooners come right down. He takes it in from 5 yards out. 17 all right now at the break.
17 all. Imagine where Oklahoma State would be right now if not for that Central Michigan loss.
Imagine if the committee has to seriously consider that debacle. That would be interesting. I like the committee to have to go places they haven't gone before. So in year 3, I'm not sure they're going to have to legitimately consider how they treat that game against Central Michigan.
Troy had a player run off the field at the last moment, and we're going to have a timeout. Timeout, Georgia Southern.
Was called prior to the play clock expiring. This is Georgia Southern.
So the play clock was going to 0, and there was a player racing off the field. We're going to step aside. 21-10 Eagles. We ask you to help us beat cancer this week. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4JIMMY-V to donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And you see 100% of all direct cash donations awarded to cancer research. We thank you for your consideration and for your time this Jimmy V week. And you see the facts. I mean, 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women will develop cancer. That is a huge number, the second most common cause of death in the United States. So again, we appreciate what you do as viewers and as fans and as prospective donations to Jimmy V Week. Mike Jackson on the toss, and he goes down to the 20-yard line. Another loss. This goes for 1 to the negative as Weatherspoon makes the tackle when it's punt time for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, 3rd and extremely long is not exactly the wheelhouse for the gun triple option at Georgia Southern, and that's what we saw right there. But also we saw the adjustment defensively. Vic Koenig, the defensive coordinator at Troy, has deployed more defenders out on the edges. Georgia Southern attacked those edges early in this half and were successful doing that.
Rookard approaching for the fair catch at the 46. We were talking about what would happen if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma and the committee has to take stock of what happened in this game September 10th. Mason Rudolph, an incomplete pass, called intentional grounding, which leads to a loss of down, but should not have led to another play for Central Michigan because it was an offensive penalty. So Central Michigan, trailing, goes with the Hail Mary and connects. Cooper Rush, who likely has a future in the NFL, with the throw for the touchdown, and Central Michigan gets the win in that game, but very clearly it should not have been a victory for Central Michigan. So we'll see how that plays out if Oklahoma State wins, as Emmanuel Thompson has this completion for a first down for Troy. It's a gain of 12. That shouldn't be a loss for Oklahoma State. It shouldn't be. But it is as it stands.
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be, and I think the committee would consider that as not a loss. I think they would think that way as well if they had to actually address it front and center. I'm not sure they're going to have to get there, because the only way they would really have to do that is if they were considered a Final Four team or a college football playoff team, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Second down, Silvers to throw. Anderson out of the backfield down the sideline for a first down to the 30-yard line. Cart?
Kelly, let's play the hypothetical game. Say Clemson was to lose, and if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, they win the Big 12. If that wasn't a loss, would a one-loss Oklahoma State get in?
I don't think they would get in considering the other things that are above them, but I don't think they would not get in because of that loss. I think they would be considered, by and large, a one-loss team, but I think there's too much traffic ahead of them, Clark, to even make that an issue.
First down for Troy from the 30-yard line. Silvers, that is tipped and incomplete. Darius Jones goes high for it, and it's second down.
Darius Jones was initially in the flat, and he was sinking underneath that corner route and almost came down with a spectacular interception. In the end, he batted the ball down, but had an opportunity. He got way up in the air. You can see him sinking underneath the route after his route that he was covering disappears inside. Great coverage and a great play by Darius Jones.
The only guy with real game experience in a young secondary before this year is Silvers, was under pressure. That's Ironhead Gallon on the rush. And it's third down as we tell you about this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by PlayStation. And you don't see Oklahoma State, other than in that 10th position, climbing to the 4th spot, right? Even if that's not considered a loss to Central Michigan?
Lot of clutter ahead of them regardless. I think the Big Ten champion, Wisconsin, Penn State, would be in there before Oklahoma or Oklahoma State for that matter.
But the question is, where would they have been without that loss?
In terms of the ranking, You're exactly right. If that wasn't perceived as a loss up until now,
out of the second half.
It's something that we actually will never know.
So really, honestly, the committee should have been considering it all the way through.
You're exactly right. They should have been forward thinking in that, and
because you're saying there's so much traffic in front of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, what if they're 5th right now?
What if there isn't that traffic? I think you're right.
Then if they beat Oklahoma, then suddenly there's a clamor to get them into the 4th spot. So I think they're probably lower ranked than they would have been.
I think I agree with
that loss.
I agree with that, and it shouldn't be that way. So, but I think there were hints given early on that, if we have to actually look at that loss, we will address it at that time. And I think that's exactly where the human committee of 12 comes into play.
Well,
they can consider things like that.
Here are the Big Ten teams they're behind right now, and you could argue till the cows come home over these 4. Say Wisconsin or Penn State, whoever wins that, do you think they belong in the college football playoff?
Yes.
No matter who wins tonight, they belong in.
I believe they belong in.
Over Michigan.
Over Michigan.
This is third down for Silvers, who's going to change out of the play after the timeout, Troy. Play clock moving down to 10. Silvers still at the line. Now out of the shotgun. Play clock down to 5. Silvers to throw on third down. More pressure over the middle. Tackle broken and a first down. Emmanuel Thompson inside the 20-yard line in a gutty run.
A gutty throw, too, by Brandon Silvers, the quarterback of Troy, throwing as he knew pressure was coming off the edge, but Troy's offensive line is trying to get this whole offensive group going right now.
Silvers, play action, uses the shoulder into the end zone, touchdown. Tavares McCormick, his 5th touchdown of the year.
A well-designed play off of the screen outside that is basically Troy's perimeter run game. Emmanuel Thompson was coming back inside for the screen. Typically, McCormick will be blocking for the screen. Right there, instead McCormick slips by and runs to the end zone.
He's been the big play man, and Troy decides not to chase the points right now and just go for the extra point with K to make it 21-17.
Don't chase points until somewhere in the fourth quarter, but I could tell that drive had more juice in it because of the kind of the demeanor of the offensive line on that particular drive. They were hustling up to plays and peeling defenders off of piles, and all of those things typically result in good things offensively, and McCormick finishes in the end zone.
On that play, too, we see the stress that Troy's screen game puts on cornerbacks.
The pace of play, hurrying to the line, and they deploy a gaggle of speed receivers, and then you're right. Is it a perimeter screen? And typically McCormick would be the lead blocker, and before the defense can really sort that out, the ball is snapped and the quarterback, Silvers, is making a decision.
That drive was more like it for Troy. Its average touchdown drive this year was $157 coming in. This one goes 1:50, 7 plays, 54 yards. Silvers 4 out of 6, 52 and a score on the drive. From inside the 5, Miles Campbell for the Eagles slips at the 16. Tonight, after a busy day in college football, Sports Center at night with Scott Van Pelt. All the Gridiron Highlights Championship Saturday. Tigers 3rd round at the Hero World Challenge. Highlights from everywhere. NFL news. Everything else you want after a packed Saturday, including San Diego State, Wyoming. Sports Center at night. Streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Not supposed to be terribly warm in Laramie.
No. Yeah, San Diego State is coming from sea level, obviously, and going up to 7,200 feet to play the game, and a high of 27 today. Windy. Game time, it's going to be in the high teens, and it's not going to be comfortable come nighttime in Laramie.
What a resurgence for that Cowboys program, as Breida on the run does not have much. Yonkande with the tackle, junior Yonkande, the senior defensive end. Troy's defense, by the way, coming into this game, 46 touchdown drives by the offense this year. They've shut out the opponent 42 of those 46 times after the offense scores a touchdown. Entering play today, 91% of the time, they don't allow anything.
So what do you see the significance of that to be?
It allows Troy to go on runs and kind of blow you out. They stop you from scoring after Troy just scored, and it allows for those explosive quarters for Troy.
And you're a baseball guy, right, Jay? So to me, it reminds me of when you have a big inning offensively in baseball, you don't want your pitcher to go out and lay an egg the next half inning and give up 4 or 5 runs, right?
Yep.
You want a quick 1, 2, 3, and you're out of that inning, and that's the way it plays out in football. When your offense does something well, your defense needs to bow up and get the ball back. Those things that lead to momentum are very important in the game of football.
So this is essentially a shutdown inning here for Troy. 3rd down for the Trojans defense. Levy showing pressure, backs off, the throw to the sideline, and Johnson goes down to bring it in. At the 40-yard line, B.J. Johnson on a gain of 21.
The back shoulder throw to a big-bodied receiver, B.J. Johnson, matched up, and Jalen Roundtree is on the coverage. Roundtree is trying to play over the top, and so the back shoulder throw was a perfect choice. receiver and quarterback on the same page, and very well done. An important conversion because Troy defensively was playing at a different level the last couple of drives.
That was just the second play call that was a pass of this half for Georgia Southern as Weatherspoon makes the tackle there. It's a loss of 5 on a big hit on Breida. That's the second pass, by the way, because the first one was pulled back by a penalty. It was a play call that was a pass, however.
And we saw the safety that time, Chris Weatherspoon, number 3. That's what an LE runner looks like. When the safety has to run the LE outside, whether it's the quarterback to the edge or the pitch man, that's what he has to do, is show up with a purpose like Weatherspoon did on that play.
So Georgia Southern, which trailed 10-7 at the half, has scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Troy has retaliated with one of its own. Troy in search of a split of the Sun Belt Championship, trailing by 4 on the road with 15 minutes to go.
College Football Playoff Selection Show, Sunday at noon on ESPN.
We'll find out who's in coming up noon Eastern time. Here's who you think's in, Kelly.
Yeah, I'm being a little bit hypocritical, to be honest with you, because the Big Ten champ probably needs to be in that top 4 somewhere to begin with, and Ohio State might be my team that's out. If you can't win your conference, maybe you don't deserve to be in the top 4.
But Kelly, they were number 2 coming into the week. How could they possibly drop out?
That's the committee's problem.
Ellison incomplete on the deep ball. Keegan Williams was the target. They've had a couple efforts there and missed on both.
Georgia Southern has been basically completely run-oriented in this second half. So what did they do here? Out of the timeout, it's a play-action pass, and then they try to gash him down the field. There's a little bit of pressure that probably wouldn't have been thrown out in front, but the pressure caused the inaccuracy down the field to Williams.
Yankonde was in on Ellison, so this is 3rd down and 15 for Georgia Southern, trying to maintain this lead and keep Troy from a share of the Sun Belt Championship. Levy coming on the pressure. Ellison to run, gets a block out ahead, stays in bounds as long as he can, and now sets up decision time for his own team.
Yeah, I think Ellison had a chance to just put his shoulder down and pick that first down up, and he stepped out of bounds what appears to be about a yard short, right?
About a yard and a half. That was 3rd and 15. He gets roughly 13. What do you have to lose, right?
I think you have to punt this ball away, Jay. Do you not? What do you have to lose? Yeah, I guess.
The game, I guess.
The game?
I think you go for it.
But you have the offense that's all about picking this down and distance up.
For 7 out of 16 on 4th down this year, no hesitation. Ellison to throw, and he whistled it wide. You shocked they threw it?
I'm, first of all, shocked they went for it, but if I'm going to go for it with the gun triple option, I'm going to run some kind of option, not put the ball in the air. Ellison is a 5th-year senior, and I think on the previous run just didn't make a very good decision. Right there, you are a quarterback, but you are a quarterback that needs a first down. You put your head down and go get a yard and a half. That's the first decision, and then go for it on 4th, but do something that is kind of uncharacteristic for you to do on 4th down, which is to throw the ball. Didn't work very well.
You know, the Georgia Southern sideline wanted interference on Weatherspoon, the safety, and they may have had an argument. He did get there reasonably early. Silvers to throw out of the backfield. He has Chun with a hurdle down the sideline. Joshua Moon went low, Chun went high. It's a gain of 26.
It's a pretty athletic move by a 6'1", 235-pound running back. Good job by dumping it off by Silvers, and then this might be a top 10er, Jay. What do you think?
I think so. That was a heck of an athletic play by Chun, who does have a touchdown today. Here's one more look.
Chun is the grown man physical runner, but this is an athletic man right there.
And the Chun went over the moon. Second down for Troy, and 8. Silvers to run right up the middle. He's got room. Silvers first down, short of the 10. Moon took him down, gain of 14.
Brandon Silvers has this ability when he's decisive. He needs to be comfortable doing just this. He's a very athletic quarterback. As a pocket passer, you can't just get zeroed into this is what I have to do every play. You have to be able to use your athleticism like Silvers did on that play.
Chun down to the 5-yard line as Troy looks for its 5th straight road win, one of the best road teams in the country. Trailing here under 13 to play at Georgia Southern.
Where was this sense of urgency out of Troy on both sides of the ball for about 3 quarters? I didn't see it, but we're seeing it defensively in this quarter, the end of the third quarter, and also in this quarter by their offense.
Silvers has Emmanuel Thompson at the bottom of the formation. He's been his favorite target this year. Instead, they stay on the ground with Chun, and he scores again. Jordan Chun with his 2nd touchdown, his 13th of the year on the ground, and Troy leads again.
And Jay, what we've seen out of Troy offensively is efficiency. And if you're efficient offensively and you're a group that wants to go really fast, then you can do that. And that was the game plan, is to be able to possess the ball, go fast, and wear down the strength of Georgia Southern's defense, which is Jonathan Battle and Darius Sapp, the defensive tackles, and it's working right now.
Another quick drive for Troy. Took 1:56. As Jordan Chun ties the Troy career touchdown record with his 34th after a silver medal hurdle job. He gets in, and Troy leads again.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by eBay. The gift they're waiting for is waiting on eBay. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
More trophies for Troy with a win today. The Trojans would have a share of the Sun Belt title. With a victory against Georgia Southern today, it would be the 6th conference title in 13 seasons in the Sun Belt. They joined in 2004. Larry Blakeney brought them into the league, and Neil Brown has taken over his 2nd season. Could be a 10-win season, and it would be with this final score. But Georgia Southern has some time, and the ball right around the 25-yard line. And this Troy defense has done a number on Ellison in the second half.
Yeah, early in the second half, it was Troy being in position but not making plays on the quarterback Ellison, and he gashed him. 137 yards in that third quarter running when they only had 53 at half. But then the adjustment came toward the end of that third quarter. You see the safety, Chris Witherspoon, running down the pitch. That was not happening in that third quarter, but it's happening now, and Troy looks like a completely different team defensively, but also they have some juice to them offensively now as well.
Vic Koenig, the longtime college football defensive coordinator, spent time at Clemson and North Carolina as they string this one out as well. Breida on the brakes. He loses a pair. Lloyd with the tackle. Same type of thing right there, Cal.
Yeah, remember when we talked about Georgia Southern came out in the first half attacking the edges, attacking the perimeter in the run game for Troy, and Troy was spitting the bit outside wide. But now the adjustment has been made. There's more pursuit from the inside out. There's a better edge, and Georgia Southern is not getting yards out on the edge currently.
We'll see if they adjust. Ellison on the roll, snaps it off toward the sideline. He has Campbell, and Miles Campbell with the grab to set up third down. How would you adjust if you're Georgia Southern's offense?
Just like that. Your perimeter run game now, because of what Troy's doing defensively, has to become the quick perimeter pass game. And Georgia Southern will do that. They will deploy 4 wides and throw quickly outside the numbers. And that's what we saw to Campbell on that play.
5 of 11 on third down today for Georgia Southern. Ellison hands it off, and L.A. Ramsby crashing ahead for the first down across the 35. It's a gain of 6.
And tight end slash offensive tackle number 96, Ty Phillips, was in, is essentially the 6th offensive lineman on that particular play. And then it's Ramsby, who's the most physical runner, I believe, in this group that we've seen here today, that just hits it right down Broadway.
They fake the reverse action again, and this run game has used Ramsby quite a bit on third downs today. He gets to carry out first down, gain of 6.
And once again, we see it, Jay, between the tackles. Because of what Troy has done on the edges, we now see Georgia Southern hitting it right down Main Street.
Running back out of the state of Ohio, L.A. Ramsby, inside Troy territory down to the 49-yard line. He had 13 touchdowns last year. Honorable mention, all Sun Belt. He's not getting the same amount of carries this year, with Breida having a great season, but Ramsby moves the sticks again, and he's coming off. Wesley Fields is in for Georgia Southern. Flag comes in, and that's going to be a hold of epic proportion against Georgia Southern. It looks like Max Magana, the right tackle.
That flag literally hit Kevin Ellison right in the back of the neck. I don't think the official was actually trying to hit him, obviously, but that literally hit Ellison right in the back of the neck, and he's fairly offended by that.
That was the old Jeff Triplett in
Shot
the NFL,
block
right?
on the offense. Personal foul, 15 yards, replay, first down.
We see the chop block is the call, and we also see 96 Ty Phillips, essentially the 6th offensive lineman, coming out of the game. But that flag literally hit the quarterback in the neck, and Ellison is still fired up about that.
Well, what do you do if you're an official? You just throw it straight up in the air? I mean,
throw it to the ground somewhere, but I don't think you throw it toward a player, regardless of what your decision is. I'm not saying the official meant to, but it did happen.
down the middle. He's got it. B.J. Johnson into open space. Inside the 10-yard line. Johnson is in. Touchdown. 64 yards. Ellison took out his frustration on Troy.
Ellison threw a laser to Johnson, and it was in tight coverage, but that's where the big body physical receiver B.J. Johnson comes into play. He out-wrestled the free safety Ruckert for that football. Ruckert actually had, from his free safety position on that post route, good coverage, but the big receiver wins out. Georgia Southern needed something really, really good to happen. Ellison winds up on one and throws it to his go-to guy. Georgia Southern is back on top.
For that, two top 10 teams, Xavier and Baylor, getting together. We got a good one here. 5 lead changes so far in Statesboro, Georgia, and Georgia Southern has a 28-24 advantage. No return for Smith. B.J. Johnson, the touchdown for Georgia Southern on the longest pass play of the season for the Eagles, and he's one of the seniors celebrating his final game here at Paulson Stadium. And as we show you our backstage pass today, we center on the Director of Football Operations at Georgia Southern, Simone George, one of 8 women to hold this position at an FBS school. She was taking care of day-to-day operations with the team today, as she always does, including getting ready for the Senior Day ceremonies. And final words for Breida and for Ellison from Simone George, who does a wonderful job here in Statesboro. So Troy trailing once again behind the quarterback Silvers, who pitches it out wide and has a completion to Jordan Chun. It's a gain of 5 and second down coming up.
One of the things that we haven't talked about much is Georgia Southern in coverage has done a nice job today, because Troy likes to take their shots kind of periodically just to loosen up the coverage, but Georgia Southern plays a lot more zone on the back end right now because of the inexperience they have back there. Darius Jones Jr. is really the only experienced guy on the back end.
To the fringe the other way, McCormick, and the ball, he's back on top of it across the 30. They're going to say McCormick was down.
Jay Beaudry is the safety that had the hit. McCormick takes his legs out from him, under him right there. That was a tremendous hit, and that ball was down. Fumble caused when he hit the ground.
So on third down, the Georgia Southern defense gets a stop. Chun frozen by Logan Hunt, and now if you're Troy, what do?
Well, they're at least thinking about it, and the question becomes, do you get the ball back against the triple option offense for the Eagles that may possess it for the next 8.5 minutes? So it appears that they're at least going to go for it right here, look for the hard count.
They're going to run it straight ahead, and it looks like Silvers is there. Now, wait a second. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Not sure the wide receiver was actually set out wide.
Prior to the snap, not all 11 offensive players were set. So therefore, we have a false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, replay, fourth down.
Now you can't go for it, can you?
No, you have to punt it away now. And Emmanuel Thompson was the wide receiver out wide, covered by that experienced defensive back Darius Jones that we talked about. And he just simply didn't get set before the quarterback called for that quick count.
Bad time for the third penalty of the day for Troy. Yeah, he's just walking around. That is a low line drive punt by Kay. And Campbell sees it bounce to the 32-yard line. It's a 38-yard punt for Ryan Kay. And we remind you that our Week 13 Monday Night Football matchup has Andrew Luck and the Colts against Brandon Marshall and the Jets off their near miss against Tom Brady and the Patriots. 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Monday Night Countdown is served by Applebee's at 6. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Colts are a half game back of the Titans, a game behind the Texans in that AFC South.
And as Georgia Southern gets the ball back with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left, up by 4, this is where the gun triple option offense needs to show up, with just massive possession of the football right here.
Campbell in motion. They will keep it on the ground for Breida, and he is slung back. Nothing doing that time. Sanders with the tackle. Statham in there as well. And it's second down and long.
Yeah, Jamal Statham's blew up this play before it could really get going from his defensive tackle position. Quickness off the snap, and just got to Breida before Breida could get going downhill.
Jamal Statham, the junior out of Melbourne, Florida. As Ellison rolls, holsters it now, wanted to run, now throws across his body, and has it caught! Johnson off the deflection at the 40-yard line. Did Lloyd get hit in the face mask with that off the deflection? My goodness.
Deflection, yes, but it was also Lloyd that reached up with, I believe, his left hand and tips this ball to begin with. Then it's off his face mask, and Johnson ends up with it off the top of his helmet. What an extraordinary play that was.
That is a SportsCenter top 10 nominee, and Ellison here is swung down at the 40, so third down goes haywire. Now fourth down for Georgia Southern.
This certainly isn't a decision, right? You have to punt this football away after you let a little bit of time run off the clock.
You know, it would be a very gutsy call for the first year head coach Tyson Summers, Kevin.
It would be gutsy as if you were deep in your own end zone and it was 4th and 18 and you had a fake punt. We've seen that before this year, right?
Probably wouldn't want to replicate that.
No, that's not a do-over by any stretch.
Flynn will kick it away. And that is a good punt. All the way back to the 15-yard line. The coverage is there. Rookert snowed under. And it's a long field for Troy. A 46-yard net. Troy trailing by 4 in the shadow of Coach Russell in Statesboro. Georgia Southern has the lead.
The College Football Playoff Selection Show, Sunday at noon on ESPN.
We're not even 24 hours away from the College Football Playoff Selection Show. And we have a dandy here in Statesboro. Kevin Ellison, the quarterback for Georgia Southern, came off the field after that last drive a little hobbled. And so we will see when the Eagles have it back who is the quarterback. Chun, the tailback, on first down for Troy, looking for its first 10-win season in its FBS history against a Georgia Southern team that is just outstanding at home. 185-36 all-time here at Paulson Stadium. Silvers against a four-man rush. He steps up. Silvers has it tipped and caught. That's going around in this game as Thompson brings it in off the deflection and a first down on a gain of 18.
Eligwe was the defender, the linebacker that tipped that one, but yeah, it's all about the tip drill in the last two possessions.
Run it with Chun on first down to the 33.5. So second down coming up.
Eligwe did a great job of sinking underneath this route and gets his right hand on it, but tipped it up in the air, and a very alert Emmanuel Thompson came down with it. There is such thing as a tip drill in practice, but defensively it's usually them tipping the ball and intercepting it, getting it themselves, but we've seen the receivers be on the better end of that the last couple series.
Well, Thompson won a basketball state title at Barbara County High School, so he's used to rebounding a little bit. As Silvers has another completion across the 40 to Sam Letton, the freshman out of Marietta, Georgia. It's a gain of 7, and it's third down for Troy and short. What's your play call?
This hasn't exactly been their friend, but what they like to do is Troy will motion into an empty set and then run quarterback draw, or they'll go speed option and get their quarterback to the edge.
Sidney Davis, the wide receiver, in motion.
The long snap count showed the quarterback Silvers that Georgia Southern is bringing pressure.
Davis in motion again. He reverses field. Silvers is very close. We'll see where they spot him, and it looks like, based on the spot, he's going to have the first down, but we will check as Eligwe made the tackle.
And Jason, that was the second option, the speed option.
They're going to call timeout for a measurement here.
Yeah, this is very close, but that, I talked about it. It's empty and quarterback draw, or it's speed option, and this is the speed option version. Silvers just takes it to the end man on the line of scrimmage, but with that pressure, there was another defender that showed up more quickly, and Silvers did a nice job of ducking it up inside and eking out a first down by a couple of chain links, maybe?
I'll tell you what, I think that may have been a generous spot, too, watching the replay. If I'm Georgia Southern, I would want somebody to stop play to look at that. But for now, it's a first down for Troy.
Well, you have the right to do that as the Georgia Southern head coach. And Tyson Summers is definitely talking with the line judge about it right now.
Now he's backed off. First down for Troy, and there's the snap. So no review. Jordan Chun playing for a gain of 3. He's got a couple of touchdowns today as Troy, with 2 timeouts left in the cabinet, still has a chance at this game and win number 10.
Georgia Southern playing soft defensively, once again forcing Brandon Silvers and company to be efficient to drive the football. They're not even going fast right now, which is really Troy's offensive calling card.
Silvers hands it off. McCormick is swarmed under, gain of 1, third down, Clark.
Well, Kelly, you got to think this is 4-down territory. The clock is whittling down, and field goal certainly not a slam dunk. Tyson Summers and this special teams group has blocked 7 kicks, so if Troy continues to drive, you got to think they're thinking touchdown with the clock and the whole factor of how good Georgia Southern is at blocking kicks.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think this is all or nothing on this drive.
They're tied for the national lead in block kicks. Third down. Silvers to throw down the middle. He's got a first down for McCormick across midfield. So Troy moves the chains, under 3 to play, trying to protect a Sun Belt co-championship. The Trojans would have it with a win today.
And McCormick really is the go-to guy that Brandon Silvers likes in situations just like that. Very sure-handed, runs typically very good routes.
McCormick has a touchdown today. It was a 16-yarder from Silvers. Sean, the tailback. Silvers to throw. He's got another one across the 40. Emmanuel Thompson. That's a gain of 7 for Troy.
Right now working on those slants from either the slot position or perimeter receivers coming inside as well.
The Leagueway showing pressure for Georgia Southern. Silvers checking out of the play.
Leagueway number 7 is their pressure guy, transfer from Florida State, and he has a little more twitch than the other defenders on that side of the ball. Also a pressure guy is Ironhead Gallant, number 27.
He's in the middle as the linebacker. Silvers will run, and he runs into his own man along with Jonathan Battle, and it's 3rd down and short.
Obviously you want to convert right here, but with 2 timeouts, you really don't need to burn the first one until you get under a minute is essentially the rule. So it's convert, move the chains, and preserve those timeouts until you're inside of a minute.
Ideal situation is touchdown and not much time left on the clock for Georgia Southern. Sean on the run, and he is stopped. He's a yard short. Logan Hunt with the tackle. It's 4th down, and Troy will use a timeout to talk it over. Troy trailing by 4 in search of a Sun Belt championship. Got to have a win. Troy needs a win for a Sun Belt co-championship. Troy has 4th down and about 1.5 yards from in Georgia Southern territory. After the Troy timeout, 1 remaining for the Trojans. If they don't get it here, they won't get the ball back. Silvers out of the shotgun. The junior quarterback for Troy. He will throw under pressure. He has Thompson. First down, Troy. He took a big hit and hangs on to the 31-yard line.
And the tunnel screen, which we actually haven't seen that much, and the offensive line did a great job of getting out in front of Thompson.
Silvers on first down. He throws. Thompson again breaks a tackle. Knocked down by Gallant at the 11-yard line. First down, Troy.
Bad decision by Darius Jones to try to go for that football. If you go for the ball in a situation like this, you have to secure the defender or the offensive player first, and Jones did not do that.
Troy doesn't need to be in a hurry here. The clock is not really the enemy. The goal line is as Chun runs down to the 10.
There certainly is a sense of urgency. 1 timeout and you're just ticked under 40 seconds. So you do have to move with a purpose, but this ball probably needs to be thrown at this point in time, and actually from this time on in.
They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. Troy looking for a Sun Belt championship. Chun out of the backfield goes down, and now maybe you use the timeout.
That was a poor play call. You're going to throw it on a swing screen to a physical running back that is made to run between the tackles. That's not a good choice, and then he can't get out of bounds. So you have to burn that timeout that you really needed down the stretch here deep in the red zone. And Chun may have gone down early because he's hurt. He's still down on the ground. But it's a swing screen. Silvers is throwing this from the get-go, but it's zone outside. You want that against man-to-man if it's only Ironhead Gallant, the middle linebacker, chasing the running back outside, but you saw a second defender already setting out there. That play is dead before it ever gets going.
So with the timeout called by Troy, Chun comes off the field. 3rd down and 8. And now you've got to give Silvers some options into the end zone here, right? You can't throw this short of the end zone anymore.
I mean, you can't be that precise. You talked about it. They can pick up a first down basically at the 1-yard line or slightly inside of it, but you can't take that because now that benefit of having the timeout has gone away. So this ball has to go into the end zone a couple of times.
28-24 Georgia Southern. 5 lead changes in this game as Troy has pieced together a 14-play drive so far deep into Georgia Southern territory. With a win, Troy would have its first 10-win season in the FBS and a Sun Belt co-championship with at least Appalachian State.
And what I like right here, Jason, is Tavarius McCormick is the go-to guy, number 11. And right now, I believe he's in the slot to the top. You have to find a way to get number 11 the football. Slot is a great way to do it. He's off the ball, he can't be jammed, but maybe even put him in motion at some point in time, try to get him loose.
McCormick in that slot left. Thompson, a favorite target, wide to the bottom of your screen. 10 to snap it for Silvers. He's ready to throw. Silvers out of the backfield has Anderson, and down he goes. Now they've really got to hurry. Clock moving, 13 seconds.
You can't spike it either. It's 4th down now, right?
Got to go. This has to be a play to the end zone. 6 seconds left. Silvers, the junior quarterback, calling for it. Gets it. Final play. Silvers, incomplete. Georgia Southern holds and wins. Fourth straight time the Eagles beat the Trojans, and this time they take away a Sun Belt championship. Downstairs, Clark with Tyson Summers.
Coach, with 22 seconds left, I saw you get in that huddle with the defense. What did you tell him?
2 plays, keep him in bounds. We've been working for this. You know, it's to finish up like this for our seniors and be back here at Paulson and to have the kind of day we had for these guys, these seniors that have been able to beat Florida, transition into Division I football and beat a good football team in Troy today. It speaks volumes for the kind of leadership that we have here and the leaders that we have on this football team and this senior class, and this whole day was about them.
At 4-7, and you're playing a Troy team who can clinch co-championship in the Sun Belt. What gave you that belief that you could get this W?
Well, we knew that we could, and I thought we had a good game plan on both sides of the ball. I thought the defense played really well today, and I certainly thought the offense came up big and again, continuing to play smart on special teams. But we've continued to work hard. We had never not had it belief or lost faith. We've just continued to work, and it's a great testament to these kids today.
This is your first year as head coach. What kind of impact in the offseason does this W have?
Well, I certainly think it makes us all go in, knowing what we've got the capabilities to do and what our work ethic means. And again, I think the biggest piece is being able to do this for that senior class.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
One of the youngest head coaches in the FBS, Tyson Summers, gets the win. And Kel, we said it, you can't stay in bounds. You can't throw that swing pass, and Silvers did on the second to last play of this game.
Yeah, the last sequence was set up by the fact that there was poor clock management. The ball is thrown inbounds, tackled inbounds right there, but there was a play before that to Chun also when he was tackled inbounds where they had to burn a timeout that they should have in their pocket. And so now it's 4th down, you can't spike the ball, so you have to call a play that's going to work into the end zone, and Troy just simply could not do it on that play. But to me, it's less about the play you're watching right now, and it's more about the lack of quality time management before.
On that last play, Silvers was eyeing a couple receivers and might have had a shot to McCormick.
Yeah, it was the picket fence play. The defense has a picket fence defensively and coverage built on that inline. And then as receivers, you're just trying to find an open space. And as soon as you see it as a quarterback, you throw a laser into the numbers. Well, that really didn't appear for Brandon Silvers at all on that play.
I'll tell you what, you could make an argument as well that they didn't even get that play off. It came with
That's
about
very
half
true.
a second on the clock.
All of the people right here in the stadium didn't think they got the play off, so they were fitting to be tied before Brandon Silvers ever threw that one incomplete.
Georgia Southern finishes 5-7. Troy's headed to a bowl at 9-3. Final score: Georgia Southern 28, Troy 24. Next on ESPN2, back to the studio. Chris Cotter, Jonathan Vilma. They have your college football scoreboard. Thanks for watching as we say good afternoon from Statesboro, Georgia.
All right, Jason, appreciate